It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. Field Yates reported this morning the Titans have restructured the contract of wide receiver Robert Woods, converting his base salary into a signing bonus that creates about $2.5 million in cap space. Also, Auburn made it official on Monday, the hiring of Hugh Freeze as the next head coach of the Tigers. He spent the last 4 years at Liberty, going 34-15. Freeze last coached in the SEC at 2016 at Ole Miss before being forced to resign. The Preds dropped the puck tonight at Bridgestone Arena after a water main break in the building caused 2 games to be postponed over the weekend. Doors will open at 5:30 for a 7 p.m. puck drop as the Preds host the Anaheim Ducks. And it's win or go home for the U.S. men's national team. The game has just kicked off against Iran. Final group stage fixture in Qatar of the World Cup. A draw or a loss means elimination for the U.S. men's national team. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up, everybody? Yeah, breaking Titans news. Blaine Bishop saw this. You don't have to do the sounder or even the BB.
Can we get a live version?
BNS.
I don't know if Lucas is on top of his game.
Reggie Roberson, per his
Don't know how to
agent,
work the computer,
Murphy
man.
McGuire, has
Murphy
signed
McGuire.
to the Titans practice squad. We all liked him in the preseason.
Roberson.
Reggie Roberson, former SMU receiver, on the Titans practice squad. There you go, some Titans news right off the top of the show.
Man, I was actually surprised that they cut him. This is where I'm watching and them watching, and we must be looking at two different people, because I said there was no way he was not going to make the roster. There was no way in heck. So I don't know what they saw or didn't see, or even if he would have got cut and made the back to practice squad, would have been okay. I get you, because he was coming off. But you could see he was getting stronger. His leg was getting stronger each and every practice. It was almost a no-brainer for me, even though he was going to be, maybe one of the last guys. But I sure in the heck could put him in front of. I don't even remember his name now. What's the Louisville kid we drafted?
That would be Des Fitzpatrick.
Oh, that's right, because he never dresses. He never. Yeah, I forgot his name. That guy. There's no way. Nothing against Fitzpatrick or anything else. I'm calling a spade. Who's better? Who looks better? And there was, so that shows you sometimes the draft pick gets a little more leeway than the other one. So yeah, this kid would have been drafted all day long if he hadn't torn ACL. So glad that he's getting an opportunity. I don't even know where he was at. I don't know if he was on someone else's practice squad and got released or what. But
I'm in real time searching. He was with the Bears practice squad for at least a hot minute. At some point,
minute mean like a week?
They signed him at one point, but I can't find then where they cut him loose. Yeah. So he has at least been with the Bears a little bit this year. So that's where he went after here.
I wonder why we signed receivers. Don't we have a couple on the practice squad?
Well, Mike Vrabel actually got asked this week who might come back in their window to practice, and he named Kyle Phillips and Ola.
Well, that's one. That's two. So, yeah, he didn't name Fitzpatrick though.
Well, Des is still languishing on the practice squad. You got
so McMath must be out the whole season.
Kinsey.
Yeah, so that's a done deal. And he has showed so much improvement and strides as a receiver. And he still has a ways to go, but boy, you could see the potential and the upside. Big, strong, fast guy. He was let me give him a baby version of Julio in his younger days. Not the Julio that was here with the Titans, because of how big and massive and ripped up he was. And then he learned how to run routes. He had worked on his craft in the offseason. He got much better. Already was a big, strong, athletic guy and fast. So, yeah, I was hoping that he could have been that. You've been looking for the deep threat guy, but I want him to be more than that, because you want to be an all-around guy. But, man.
See, I get sold on types. Like, that guy's fast.
Yeah.
But this guy can run. No, I want guys
but there's
who
a lot
do
of people
everything.
like that.
Yes.
See, I'm the opposite. I
Right.
like the guy that's versatile and can do everything. If he's fast, that's great. Because what happens, the reason why I think I'm that way is if we're playing somebody fast, okay, well, that's what it is. Usually the fast guys are not real good route runners. So you got to get ready to get on your horse and run vertical. The guys who give you trouble are the 4.5 guys, 6 feet, great polished route runner, great lateral quickness in sharp areas. And, they become, if you go look at the Hall of Famers that's at receiver, I bet you if they do a height on them and put them all together, I bet it comes right at 6 feet. Guaranteed. And those guys end up doing really good. Loose hips. Man, it's like, they're good at everything. And that's what you want. And then they find themselves, even though they're not the burner, like let's say a Jalen Hyatt, not a burner like that, but they find themselves always deep and they're getting open. How does that happen? Polished route running.
Remember with Jerry Rice, and they said, he's too slow.
Yeah, well, because he ran a slow 40 time.
Ran a slow 40, and Bill Walsh is like, I seen all I need to see.
Yeah, well, he was a great route runner. He was, he hits all the buttons, everything.
He played so long, you played against him.
Yeah, I did my rookie year. Boy, you talking about never nervous Purvis. Just imagine a rookie, man. In my first start, I line up right in front of Jerry Rice early in the game. And I tell you, it's the only time it ever happened to me. My legs were shaking while I'm in my stance. And I was I think it was like a timeout or they had a delay or something that then we had to get back in our stance or something. So I got to relax. And I said, I know they're throwing right here. And I said, same thing I said when I got in the Super Bowl. I better get my hands on him. I'm in trouble. Boy, I was like, I got my hands on him and I rolled him all as far as I could do. Well, he definitely slipped off. But by that time, Steve Young was going somewhere else. Yeah, well, you talking about nervous.
You got Steve Young in that game, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I got him. I got a sack on him. Sack calls fumble. Yeah. That was my first career start. So I was super excited. And after that happened, it kind of just relaxed. So that kind of happens. Once you have something positive as a young player, usually, it follows up. Not to say you're going to, not going to have any ups and downs throughout a career, but you understand you belong, and now you've done it in a game. And, this is going to be, and I'm going to continue to improve throughout the season, just like we've watched Burks continue to improve. That's why you hate that Kyle Phillips got injured, because he was showing promise early, which I thought he was a great route runner and a punt returner too. So you got 2-1 there and good lateral quickness. Not a burner, but somehow he's always running by people. Burner for NFL standards. He's fast. Everybody's fast.
Sure.
This is a skill guy. But, where you're just running by. So, yeah, man. So I'm excited where the offense is going. I know we lost the game, and it was close to the vest. They got beat by a better team. And, oh, by the way, I saw this video, and I had to retweet it and say, this is personal. Hurst, that dude from the tight end that used to play for the Falcons and the Ravens, I don't know if something happened between previous games. Did you see the tweet that I tweeted and responded like, this is personal? Something must have happened here in the past where Hurst, tried to annihilate Dupree. And he did.
I saw that.
And I was like, I'm stuttering now. If that would have happened to me, that guy would have never left that field during that game. And so that play makes a statement, not just to Dupree, whether it was personal or not, because I've never seen somebody, I call that uncoiling on you. That means you putting everything in it. You didn't see me to the last minute, and I tried to annihilate you. And he knocked him on his behind. And Dupree is a thick, strong mofo.
Yeah.
And that there acts like, man, them Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers days, like something happened, because they was playing twice. I just want to believe that guy would have never left that field without me getting him back. There's no way. And in between the lines, by the way, just like he got him. Yeah, that was personal, boy.
Yeah, some film for what people, if you haven't seen it, there's just a film clip making the rounds on Twitter of them being across the formation from each other and Hurst literally running. I don't even want to say he ran through him. He hit him so hard, he decleated him.
Right. His front of his head went backwards and it hit the ground.
Yeah.
He knocked him. he obliterated him. I don't know if I've seen something like that to two big guys like that, like in a long time. So it was just like, whoa. And Dupree, in fairness, Dupree didn't see him. He was looking right here because the tight end was on the whole other side of the line. And he went behind the line and came across as a safety valve to block. And he ran through him. I could not believe that.
With extreme prejudice. Like you said, like I remember 3 years ago when
you
this
got me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why I say it's personal.
Yeah.
Because people don't play like that. He was like, I'm getting him. You know what's so funny? Now I'm just now thinking. I remember they showed Hurst when I watched the TV copy, him on the sideline kind of shaking. Like, yeah, I'm going to get him. And the other dude was like, hey, man, good job out there. It was after a catch, though. He was over there shaking. Like, yeah, I'm getting him. Mm-hmm. I was like, whoa. Now, looking back on it, because I thought Hurst, I said, remember, had a long day when it came to Hurst. Because he straight-armed him one time. He ran through one of his tackles. Hadn't seen people do that to him. Ain't that long got something here, but we were seeing it kind of on a regular basis in this game like we had never seen before. He was on a mission. I said, oh, that's how I like my tight end, right there. Oh, man, he can block, run routes. See, now you can't pigeonhole me and say, they got this guy in, they going to run the ball. They got this guy in, they going to pass the ball. So with me saying all that, with bouncing around and having versatility, I think now is the time for Vrabel to start Burks. Stop all this Hollister, NWI, Robert Woods, or whoever you want to, because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Sorry. He got to be out there. It's over. He's now showing who he thought he was going to be and who we thought he could be. He is on that scale now, and it's on the way up. So when it's on its way up, you keep riding that thing and you ride that thing, and boy, his confidence is going to continue to accelerate up to the sky. And I'm talking about in his production and every time he touches it. So I think if he doesn't start, then they need to have him out there way more. Vrabel, you the head honcho. I don't care about no groupings and we got this guy in for no. Dude, you ready? No, you're not coming off. Your threat, just you out there, makes a difference. So it's that time now. Can't be losing no more games. Got a big one here, Philly. This is the time to do it, right?
Yeah.
You see who you replace on the other side. Well, then let's show them what we got on this side now. So I would be game planning some plays for Mr. Burks. You didn't know him now.
Get people fired up with this.
Nationally, boy, they will know him after this game.
Yeah.
And Vrabel's that kind of dude now. We traded you. Now we're gonna show you what we got.
You are getting people fired up with that.
Yeah.
They scheme up a couple of things for Burks. Hit him early on with something, maybe.
Man, they got to do that.
Well,
I'm gonna have all kind of things in for him. We about to make this thing happen. All playmakers: Chig, Phillips, Burks, naturally the King.
Isn't it funny though? You named the three rookies: Chig, Phillips, Burks.
Wow.
Oh, the rookies, the young guys.
Yeah.
Hey man, it is what it is. If that's who makes the plays,
guess what?
Move on.
It's gonna make Woods and NWI's job a lot easier.
Yep.
As well as Hooper, as long as he's catching them. Yeah, I know Swain dropped that ball, and I think that was a check play too. By the way, and I'm not 100%, but I'm 90%. I think he checked to that play, and that was a bad ball. That was high. Tight end out in space like that, you don't throw no high ball for him. You can't do that. He up there running like he ain't never ran before in the open space, and he like, what the heck's going on here? He thinks somebody about to ear hole him.
Put it right in the numbers.
Yeah, put it right in his chest.
Let's do this. We will continue to monitor. It is 0-0 right now, the U.S. and Iran. The U.S. had a couple of chances early on in this. Lucas is nodding his head. We have it on in studio. We'll keep you updated. If you're World Cup interested, we will keep you up to date what's going on. But when we come back, love catching up with Will Selva of Good Morning Football. He is going to join us next, the NFL Network's own Will Selva, to talk all things NFL. And there's a lot to discuss.
Okay.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Getting cloudy in the old Music City. Keep your eyes on the skies today.
Oh my!
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, you're weatherman. What's the weather? What's supposed to happen today?
You know the Mr. T thing? Pain.
That's what came to your mind. Pain.
Yeah, weather pain.
Weather pain.
Will Selva joins us now from
He's not gonna give us any
NFL.
pain.
I bet the weather is nice wherever he is. Will, how in the world are you doing?
You in the Bahamas?
I pity you fools. I pity you.
That was perfect. That was
The
perfect.
one and only Will Selva, host of the NFL Network's Emmy award-winning Good Morning Football, which airs Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. And he's also the host of El Huddle, the podcast with MJ Acosta-Ruiz. That's available everywhere.
Yep.
You listen to podcasts. Hey, man, you got new family members on Good Morning Football, including J-Mac, who we love that guy.
Oh yeah. I was just waiting for alumni weekend. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we love J-Mac too, and you can tell how much
job.
other former teammates of his love him as well. For example, we had Christian Wilkins on the program this morning, and he played with J-Mac in Miami and was giving him a bad time about being a host and being professional and doing all that. And J-Mac is the best. He has made the seamless transition into broadcasting, into our little three-ring circus as well. So glad that he's there, as well as Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie has
Great,
done.
great human being too.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, his kids went the same daycare as my kids, so I used to see him, and he's just a fantastic human being. And you mentioned Jamie as well. Jamie Erdahl has fit in just fantastically. The show's still great, and it never misses a beat. And you guys just have something good going there. And one of your co-hosts, Peter Schrager, a couple of weeks ago, I was watching the show like I do, and he says something. And I held up my phone and taped it off the TV and brought it here, and played it for the boys. Derrick Henry is a Hall of Famer, Schrag said, even if this is it. Like, he never plays another down. Man, that sent a little reverberation around the studio.
That made me nervous.
Here.
That meant, he's about to get injured.
You thought it was a jinx. Well, what did you guys think of that? Did you like it, or did you think he was off base?
Well, I was, because Mickey actually asked me that one day. And
Literally, we had just had the discussion.
That's right. And I was middle of the road. I just said, we're counting our horse before, he's there. Now, is he on the right track? Absolutely. I said, but there's still some work to be done, really. Is he a Hall of Fame talent? Oh, yeah, but there's a whole bunch of Hall of Fame talents that kind of stopped abruptly. And there's been some who gotten in who careers didn't finish or have as long career. But I think he's on track. But right now, I would say it's going to be really tough. He's got to have some success in the playoffs and get to the Super Bowl, I would say. Really could get me over the hurdle here the next 2 years.
Well, you think of impact, though, guys. Derrick Henry has brought that over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've seen, say, Chris Johnson and what he did in reaching 2,000 and what that means. I think that if Derrick Henry continues on his path, I think it's definitely going to lead to Ken. I think I do need to see maybe 2 or 3 more seasons, but he has been absolutely impactful in the game. There is nobody that has been like him. Yes, we've seen Earl Campbell in years past and the way he would just truck people, but the way Derrick Henry does it at a time where the league is very pass happy, I think that says a lot, and that's what's made him really stand out.
Yeah, and to me, that means he might even be able to get in with a lesser total. Well, I want to say that I've looked this up over and over in my life. Ricky Williams is the only guy with 11,000 plus who's eligible that isn't in. And I think if
Where's Ricky Waters?
Ricky Waters.
Oh,
I say? Who did I say?
Williams.
Ricky
Ricky
Waters is who I meant.
Ooh, big difference there, Mickey.
Ricky Waters is the guy I think with 11 who's not Frank Gore or Adrian Peterson. And I think Ricky is even a semifinalist this year. I think if Derrick gets to 10, that he will moonwalk into the Hall of Fame.
I do too. I absolutely 100% agree. We've seen running backs who've had shorter career spans who have actually been inducted into Ken. Now, Terrell Davis, for example, he obviously has Super Bowls on his resume, so that helps out. But he also played a short amount of time. So I think Henry's on his way there. I think he's on his way, and I'm glad that Schrags said something that kind of perked everybody up in Nashville. I like it.
Hey, between that and angry runs and all that, you guys give the Titans plenty of love on the Good Morning Football show. Will Selva at Will Selva TV, our guest from NFL Network.
Just to clarify, so he gets T and he's in. Is that because he has a 2,000-yard season. Well, let's assume that nothing else happens. Reason why I say that, because my former teammate, E.G. Eddie, is over 10. He's over 10. I think he's 10,750 or something like that. So where would you put in the equation, or what is hurting him from getting into the Hall of Fame?
That's a great question, because I remember him and thinking of him being a Hall of Fame talent as well, but I don't know if the impact is as equal as it was to say Terrell Davis. I mean, these are the sorts of arguments that happen in these rooms in Canton. You can certainly make a compelling argument. I just don't think he's there. I don't. I have to say, though, Blaine, you played with Eddie. I mean, was there another running back, another football player that had bigger shoulder pads than him? Those things were huge,
Lewis.
man.
Well, you know,
Jamal Lewis is also, yes.
I have to say this. I get the same effect, even though I'm not playing anymore. People used to always ask me, man, how big is Eddie? Is he really that big? And then I get the same questions now in the media about Derrick Henry, the king. I said, no, he's every bit as big and like a giant out there running back. I said, it looks like a defensive end playing running back.
Yeah, well, I'll say this, though. Eddie's a better actor. That I do know. Eddie's a pretty good actor. I don't know about Derrick's acting ability. I see him in the commercials. And he seems to be driving that dump truck pretty well. But I have to see him in more roles, I think.
Yeah, all right. No doubt about it. We're on with Will Selva, NFL Network, Good Morning Football. Have to ask you about OBJ and this flight incident. And does that impact at all some of these owners and teams that were showing some interest in him, to sign him?
Jerry Jones had come out and he said, we really like OBJ a lot, and I don't think that's going to impact us at all, Blaine, to be honest with you. I think that OBJ for the Cowboys is a good fit. I don't think it's going to be something that is going to cause teams to shy away from him. I think he's a difference maker, and I think for them with this incident, it's not egregious enough, I don't think. It's not good, don't get me wrong. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying that Jerry Jones has already come out and said that he would be okay with it. I think these other teams like the Chiefs, who they just got Melvin Gordon, the Bills, they just got Naeem Hines, but I just see these teams not really shying away and saying, this guy is an impact player. We can use him. We saw what he did with the Rams and how he helped them get over that hump. He would have been the Super Bowl MVP had he not gotten hurt. So I think this is an incident that, while it doesn't look good from a PR perspective and public perspective, it's not as egregious to the point where teams are saying, no, we don't want to have him.
Well, I guess that leads me to Deshaun Watson versus the Texans in Houston, I think, right? Yeah, in Houston.
Yes,
how do you think how he will be received, and how will I guess the media or the NFL will frame Deshaun Watson coming back through all this craziness on the off the field?
Honestly, Blaine, I think it creates an awkward situation in every stadium that he plays that's not at home. And even maybe at home, he's going to hear some booing, but he's going to definitely hear it on the road. And I think there's a lot of people out there that seem to be very uneasy about him and the circumstances and the allegations that surround him. I think that the reception is probably going to be a pretty loud one that we're going to see from fans who are disgusted from what they read and heard from those allegations, who are disappointed that the Browns still decided to give him this big contract. To me, it's going to be interesting in the home stadium how much booing or what the reception is going to be there. The team tried, from a PR perspective, trying to reach out to certain organizations and groups to appease them, to say, hey, we support you in light of these allegations and what was alleged that he had done. I think it's just a sticky situation all the way around, that I think for a lot of people it's just awkward. There's just no other way around it, and they'll do their best. But as you know, guys, if if the Browns all of a sudden start to win and we see the impact that he makes on this offense, then maybe a little by little we'll see it to quiet down. But I think initially we're going to start to see some strong reactions of him taking the field.
Well, we're talking about quarterbacks. I have to ask you this, the last question. You just made me think about right now, at this point of the season, who are your top 3 MVP candidates? And I'm just kind of thinking of quarterbacks. Naturally, that's where we always go. But it could be someone outside the box that you may think in the top 3.
I think that Tua definitely has to be in that MVP conversation. Now, also in that MVP conversation, at one point in time, was Geno Smith as well, right? Given what he's done with the Seahawks, how he came in and really took over the reins of that offense, has made them productive, making the throws that Russell Wilson is not making in Denver. I think he is a guy that's really well liked whenever you see him at the podium talking to reporters and he's with other teammates. You can tell that they like him a lot. He would have been, I think, one of those names that would be a dark horse given the position that the Seahawks are in. They've lost the last couple of games, so I think that's tailed off. I think Tua, every time that he's in the lineup, they've won. He's been extremely productive. He knows how to distribute that ball to guys in space, in particular Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. And Mike McDaniel has really brought out the best in him. And I think that has propelled him into this conversation. I think that at the end of the day, it's still going to be Patrick Mahomes who wins it. But if I had to throw a name out there or 2 names out there, I think the first one would be Tua and maybe Geno. We'll see how they end up finishing because they were leading the 49ers and then they lost 2 in a row. The 49ers, as a result, they've won. They vaulted ahead of them. So we'll see if Geno's name continues to linger in there. But Tua's got to be mentioned. Every time he's in there, the guy wins.
Well, I mean, you didn't mention this guy because the Titans play him, and that's Jalen Hurts. He's not on.
Yeah,
he's in the
Jalen
top
Hurts
5,
too.
maybe.
Yeah, no, he definitely deserves to be. The way that he has developed as a passer, I think all the things that people said that they were skeptical about with him. How's he going to throw into man coverage? He's been able to do that. How is he going to respond in certain pressure situations? He's responded. He's really galvanized this team. Again, another guy that guys rally around. When you look at the situation with the Jets and Zach Wilson, that's not how his teammates viewed him. And the way that Jalen Hurts is viewed in Philly, they absolutely love what he brings. He's a coach's son, so he knows how to interact and teach. He's a sponge. He wants to hear from teammates and blame, from playing ball. I mean, that's a big deal, and that goes a long way. And I think that Jalen Hurts has certainly helped this offense to a different level. And that's why I think all around Philadelphia is the best team, but it doesn't mean they don't have vulnerabilities that the Titans can certainly take advantage of, guys.
Yes, we're on Will Selva, NFL Network, and Good Morning Football.
Speaking of the Titans, again, is the NFL schedule so often does. You mentioned Deshaun Watson. Of course, his first game back is against the Texans. This week we get A.J. Brown versus the Tennessee Titans. The Eagles and the Titans don't play every year, but as fate would have it, Will, here we go. A.J. versus the Titans, which ought to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to this. Also, given the fact that A.J. Brown dropped some tweets that I'm sure didn't go over very well in Nashville, I think all the way around, this is a game that the Titans can win against Philadelphia just because that run defense, as I mentioned, very vulnerable. I think the one thing that you want to keep your eye on is the status of Jordan Davis. Now, he has been hurt. He's been out of the lineup for them, and it's made a significant difference in the fact of the Eagles' defense hasn't been able to really stop the run, and that's why they brought in Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph. So we know the Titans like to run the ball, and they'll bring it early and often. I think that is something to take advantage of. I also think the Titans' run defense is really good as well. As we know, the Eagles like to run it, and they racked up a lot of yards last week. And, of course, seeing A.J. Brown and how he is feeling about everything. Then Treylon Burks, he's been coming along, like his development. I wish he'd get the ball more because I want to see more out of him.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit frustrating watching the game on Sunday, thinking you got to get him the ball. Just same with Swaim, but there's other guys you can get the ball to, right? So I think for Downing, I'd like to see him open up that playbook a little bit more, see what they do on offense, keep that Eagles offense off the field. And I just can't wait to see what the Titans defensively have in store for A.J. Brown. There's going to be lots of trash talking, just like we're seeing right now also on social media, the trash talking between the Dolphins and the 49ers with Raheem Mostert. You know, he throws a little shade to them. Then Debo's like, come on, seriously, let's be real about this. So I like these ties between these teams, and the Titans and Eagles is no exception.
Yeah, in a league where they're literally setting records every week for how many eyeballs are on TV screens, then you have stuff like this. It drives it up to an even bigger frenzy. Will Selva, our guest from the NFL Network here on Blaine and Mickey. Wanted to ask you about the clock management skills of one Jeff Saturday and the Colts last night on display for the whole world to see on Monday Night Football. I think they ran 2 plays in the span of about a clock minute, and one of those was just a run play that everybody knew was coming, including the defense of the Steelers.
Yeah, it was, the second instance just this past weekend where a coach just had terrible clock management. And really, it feels like all throughout the NFL we're seeing it, guys, because we saw it in that Bucks-Browns game as well, where I was just scratching my head as to why Todd Bowles wasn't using his timeouts either. And you know, they had an analytics department there in Indianapolis for these sorts of occasions, but remember that Jim Irsay said we want somebody who's out of the box, who's not thinking about numbers, who wants to, coach, from his gut. And I think this was a situation where they had cutaways of Jeff Saturday on the sideline. It just kind of like no one was really talking to him. No one was consulting him. And then when Matt Ryan goes down and he's short, you would think automatically he'd pop up and he would just say, hey, timeout. And that didn't happen. And that's just surprising to me. And that's where it comes with being a coach and having the reps, or somebody to at least consult you and say, hey, this is the time where you got to take a timeout. It's just very surprising. We were talking about J-Mac at the very top. I mean, he even brought it up this morning that, the coaches know that they have to be in charge of the timeouts where the players have to go out there and play. And that's a separate function from each other. So the players are playing, the game is going so fast that the coaches are the ones that need to be in charge of calling the timeouts. Well, that's where you see a Sean McVay run down the sidelines and do the timeouts. So it was just it just dismayed me because I think I've seen a lot of this kind of clock mismanagement over the last several weeks with different players, and I think with Jeff Saturday it gets more amplified because he doesn't have that experience. But Todd Bowles did the same thing too, and they both led to losses.
Well, I guess real quickly, Mickey and our interns all did this research, and we couldn't find anybody but one coach, and that was the Jets coach. And with the Todd Downing situation and his DUI, I hadn't seen anybody ever be suspended by the NFL. Maybe we missed it, but what do you think will happen here? I don't think any suspension is going to happen, but maybe get fined. I don't know. There was not enough data out there for us.
Yeah, I think at this point in time, all they've said is that they're going to let the process play out, and what is the league thinking first, and then the league will likely then consult with the Titans and what their next steps are going to be. So in terms of what you were saying, a fine, definitely see that. In terms of a suspension, that is also a question that I don't have the answer for, because this is, again, a unique situation in terms of a coordinator, being in the limelight like this for the wrong reasons. I don't know what they're going to do. So I guess we're going to kind of have to see in the coming days and weeks what the league thinks, and then they'll get together with the Titans and come up with the punishment. But a fine, I definitely would expect would be the case.
Will, fantastic stuff, man. Great catching up with you. Keep doing the great work. Good Morning Football, of course, on NFL Network Monday through Friday. And El Huddle as well with you and MJ Acosta Ruiz. All fantastic, and we appreciate your time as always.
Yeah, beautiful.
Hey guys, it is always a pleasure for me. Hey, Team USA up 1-0. Huh?
Yeah,
The breaking news there from Will Selva.
Yes.
Yeah, the studio
Let's do
erupted
this.
when they scored. Yeah, I was like, trying to keep my cool here.
Thanks, Will.
Oh, wait, they didn't erupt to one of my fabulous answers to you guys? Come on.
No, they did not.
Come on, Lucas.
No, Bert and
I'll
Lucas
blame
did not. They were laughing.
All right, Will. Thank you, buddy. We'll talk again
Thanks,
soon.
Will.
All right, take care, guys. Have a good one.
All right, when we come back, a full update from Lucas Panzica. You will want to stick around. USA World Cup update.
1-0.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. We have our first resurrection of the game. Lucas, you tell people what you saw, what happened, and then we'll go from there. Lucas Panzica World Cup update.
About to be halftime.
Yeah.
1-0 USA. Great build-up. Started from the goalkeeper, worked all the way down the flanks, and Serginho Dest teed it up on a header for Christian Pulisic, who just did just enough to deflect it in and took a huge hit from the Iranian goalkeeper, and took him a while to get up. And I'll just say, Christian Pulisic might have sacrificed any chance at having children to score that goal.
He got hit somewhere that rhymes with guts. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly
There
what
was an
I'm saying.
Aerosmith album called Night in the Ruts.
Yeah, he was down like a driving knee right in there. He was down for quite a while.
Well, and then he got resurrected. By the time they got to the other end, after a long stoppage of play and him being, carted off by, medical officials, he just went and rejoined. He looked dead, Blaine, and then he just jumped right back in on the action.
That's why you never know these soccer guys, man, when they acting or not.
Now
We're exaggerating. Let me say that.
normal. The exaggeration is very real, but that time, I think it would be tough for any one of us to bounce
no
back
doubt.
from that.
And
That looked very painful.
It was they showed a graphic. The USA had position, had the ball, on their offensive end 53% of the time. I guess they put the graphic up right before they scored. They've had possession and opportunities to score throughout the game. It's just been just a little short, or the kick goes over the goal, just a little too much mustard on it. But, man, this particular play, that assist was fantastic.
Yeah, that was to be expected. Iran needs a draw, and they're likely through, assuming Wales doesn't pull some crazy upset of England. With the U.S., a draw is a loss. So Iran was always going to bunker down and just kind of try and eke out a draw here. But now that the U.S. has a lead, this game, as we hit halftime, will open up a little bit as Iran now desperately needs a goal. They're facing elimination.
Let's take this call from our guy, Coach. He's been on the line holding on to Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. We'll pivot from soccer back to football.
Mick, what's up, buddy? My guy, Blaine, Double B, what's up, baby?
What's going on?
Hey, man, Blaine, you got your secondary shoes on? Because I got the question of the day for you, man. I know you like playing that defense back there, man.
I don't know. Let's see if I got them on, man. I may have my slippers on.
There you go. Hey, I got a two-part question for you. So looking at we got hurt, as you mentioned a moment ago, kid continues to get just, not the accolades, and he just continues to come up shining.
Mm-hmm.
So we were out to play in. So you've been in that locker room. You've been on that sideline. You've been at practice, there that big game. What's that atmosphere like? What the vets talking about? The rookies, how to make sure everybody's on the same page. And then the second question would be, going into this game, win or lose, we're probably looking at the team on the other side that's going to be in the Super Bowl. So coming through this game, whether we win or lose this game, what does it tell us about us and our chances of meeting them again down the road?
Well, I never like to make an assumption that just because, they're having a really good season, it's why they only lost one game, right, 10-1 or whatever they are, 8-1, that they're going to win this game. Every game is its own separate entity. So when the Titans play them, it's all about matchups, especially in the secondary going against their skill guys. But Hurts is really the caveat with his running ability, and now he's improved as a passer. So now he can beat you in two different manners, and he's done it in a calm way where he's not running just to be running because he's not reading coverage. He's running when the opportunity presents itself. So it's going to be a tough hill to toe, but I don't put anything past the Titans. One good thing about the loss to the Bengals, professional athletes in any sport are so competitive that they want to rewrite the book and show why they should have won even in this game, and that they're a better team than they showed on that day or as individuals. So we may get the best Titans version that we've seen thus far this year, and I'm hoping that we see a Green Bay-like type performance. Better team, so we'll see if they can raise their level of play, because now they're playing another playoff contending team, or a favorite to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC.
And hit them often, like you said, man. You just have to give the people what they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's some things I know everybody, it's kind of interesting just looking at it from afar now that I'm in the chair I'm in now and kind of on the side of the media to being what a player was. And the media is always trying to find the why of why did the team lose, or point the finger, let's say, to a certain extent of was it this, or this, where players always looking at it, well, we gave our best effort. Sometimes, we win, lose, or draw, not going to win them all, and that we all is in this together. And because, once you start pointing the fingers, being an athlete yourself, that you can never win that way. And so eventually you have to say we lost as a team and they just were the better team and they played better than us. And to be honest, I really believe that they got them in the trenches, the Bengals. So we got to be careful and interested to see how that plays out versus the Eagles, who have had a problem with stopping the run. So I don't know if they're going to take some of the things the Bengals did and maybe Green Bay. They may be a combination of a lot of things, because if they don't stop the run, nobody's beating the Titans. So I really believe the Titans got a great shot in this game.
We got a great shot at the second hour of the program. It's coming up next. We got headlines, a familiar faces return to the Titans. We got World Cup updates. We got it all coming up in hour number 2, including a visit from Coach Mack, the Mack Attack, in about 25 minutes. Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. What's up? Happy Tuesday afternoon to you. Getting awful cloudy, rainy outside.
It's raining, man. What's your update, your weather update? What's supposed to be coming and why?
We're supposed to be getting a cold front that comes through. And so when the warm and the cold mix together, bad things happen. It was supposed to start around 2 o'clock today. It started a little bit earlier than that. It's supposed to go to like 1 or 2 a.m. That was the last thing that I saw. And we aren't in the worst of the bubbles that appears to be south of us. Like, please be careful if you're in Mississippi today. But I think we're kind of one of those things, we're on the outward edge of it. Now, Nash Severe weather, that at Nash Severe WX on Twitter, they're Williamson and Davidson County. So if you're one of those two counties, and I think there are other county versions of it, but they're a good resource, or, whoever your favorite local weather person is, just check with them.
So is it just supposed to be rain? Rain and wind?
I think it's going to be that thing where at some point the line comes through and the wind blows like crazy ahead of it, and it rains a whole lot at one point, and then there's nothing behind it. But it's just, when does that come through? What could something spin up ahead of it? Or then when that big thing comes through, like just heavy wind for a little while.
Now, I know you lived out in the middle of nowhere and your big wine ranch and everything.
Yeah, middle of nowhere.
But did you ever think about being a meteorologist?
That's funny, because I figured I would work in TV, and I did for a while, but I always wanted to do sports and not weather.
Oh.
Always wanted to do, and you're talking about even a meteorologist. That's a whole even other degree that most of those people get.
Right, of course. I mean,
but sports is like 1 degree and talk about sports and no science. So I was like, where do I sign up for that? No math, no science. One math class in all of my years of college. That was it. One math class, intermediate algebra.
I think you would have been just as successful at the weather.
I think I could have been a good weather guy.
I think you're just interested because of your story of it was always hurricanes or tornadoes hitting.
Tornadoes.
Tornadoes hitting.
Oh, yeah. I knew the tornadoes by name. They came so close to our town. You could see them coming.
Is it tornado season now? Now, I'm not saying specifically in Tennessee, but is it tornado season?
We have two. We have the spring and we have the fall. Because in the spring, it's cold and it's trying to get warm. And this is the way that I would explain it to myself. And then in the fall, it's warm and it's trying to get cool. So when you have too much of those two things colliding, that's when the bad stuff happens. So like today, it was supposed to be too warm for today. So you always pay for that.
Did it get up to like 60 or something?
Oh, it was warm when I got here.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be, the high was supposed to be around 70 today.
Right.
Lucas, before we say the returning Titan, will you give people a quick update on the World Cup? Looked like they'd scored again, but they were offsides. He doesn't have his headset on. He can't hear me. I'm giving Lucas this great chance to talk about hockey, and I can just see him in there doing his soccer, and he's just doing his thing in there, and he can't hear us. So the U.S. is leading. Oh, yes, you.
Yeah,
he's looking at us. Oh, you were talking about me.
Yeah, that Lucas.
I was editing some stuff.
It was 1-0.
Is that supposed to be like 1-0?
1-0.
You can say nothing. It's okay.
Almost 2-0, but he was offsides, correct?
Yeah, Tim Weah offside by like a fingernail.
Oh.
This AI technology they're using to determine offside is driving me insane.
Allen Iverson
well then that
technology.
should have been a goal then, because
Andre Iguodala
in real life that was
technology.
not offsides. You said a fingernail.
Basically, it was as close as offside could possibly get. It's not like when you're crossing a line of scrimmage and a forward pass, like if any part of your body is behind the line of scrimmage, right? Like if your left foot is behind the line of scrimmage, the whole rest of your body can be over it, and you could still it'll be a forward pass.
Yeah, that's a fantastic thing.
Offside is the opposite. Like if you have a hair that is offside, then you're off.
I have to tell a true story here. I thought offsides in the NFL was exactly what Lucas just explained that it is in soccer until it happened in a game. It might have been a Titans game, and they had everything past it, but they had 1 foot on the other side. The ball was on pass, offsides, and everything else. They said that's a legal pass. I had never heard that if everything has to be offsides for it to be offsides throwing the football.
Isn't that crazy?
Until I saw it. And it had to be. I was like, dang, I'm learning the rules in detail now, not being a player more so than I did. And it's not like your coaches are telling you the rules, by the way. Mostly the quarterbacks know the rules because they have to know all the rules. All I want to do is know the rules when it pertains to me, per se, what my position is. And I wanted to be educated on pretty much the rules because I was a captain. So I wanted to go out there and be able to I did not know that rule until I was sitting in this chair.
I always thought
I was like, what?
I always thought it was where the ball was.
Right.
So if he let go of the ball behind the line, it's all good.
No.
But I learned this in a college game when I was working at Arkansas State, we had a receiver who was trying to set the all-time touchdowns record, and the quarterback ran it. It was one of those plays where it was almost busted, and he broke contain. The quarterback did, and none of the linemen got downfield, thank goodness. And it looked like he was going to run. At the last minute, he saw this receiver was completely uncovered, and he just sort of jumped like a deer with 1 foot back and 1 foot forward and threw this beautiful long pass. And the guy walks in and scores, and they immediately go and review it. When they reviewed it, and now because the games are on ESPN Plus, Sunbelt games are never on regular TV, but because the game was broadcast somewhere, they had angles to look at. He had 1 toe of 1 cleat that was still behind the line of scrimmage, and it counted. And I thought, how in the world is this? So I went and asked, a couple of people. They said, no, if any of you, if any speck of your body, 1 hair is behind the line of scrimmage, then it counts. And I'm like, what a country. Wow.
So then I was like, when did that rule get changed to
that's a good question.
specific? I mean, man, how did that slip by me? Because it doesn't happen very often, so, yeah. So now we know. I'm sure there's some rules out there people didn't know, too. Or some rules they don't like. I definitely don't like the spot foul and the pass interference.
I know. Well, college, maybe they're the ones who got that right. 15
yeah.
yards and keep it moving, where it doesn't just kill you. News, this isn't breaking, but there was some news right before we came on the air that Reggie Roberson, who was with the Titans in training camp, and we did a little looking, was also with the Bears at some point on their practice squad. Reggie Roberson's agent, he's the wide receiver at SMU, really, really fast, had knee surgery, still kind of.
Yeah, ACL surgery, yeah.
ACL surgery.
But he looked good at camp. It wasn't, he was working through it, but it didn't, it wasn't seem like it was bothering him.
Right, and you can usually look at somebody and go, he's favoring his leg.
Yeah, he wasn't.
And he wasn't. Well, he got cut loose early. Like we were having discussions like, this guy's going to make the team, and then he's just gone. And So his agent is reporting he is signed the Titans practice squad. Well, guess what? In the last commercial break, I went and looked, and there's already 16 people on the practice squad. So somebody's got to go. There are 3 receivers on the practice squad. There's Conley, who's been active for 1 game, dropped that ball that Malik Willis against the Chiefs. He's on the practice squad. Mason Kinsey and Dez Fitzpatrick. There's 3 receivers on the practice squad. Again, Titans have not reported this. It hasn't been made official. Wonder who's gone to make room for this guy. Do you need 4 receivers on the practice squad? Especially if Phillips is about to come back. And we don't know yet. We'll know more Wednesday about Kyle Phillips tomorrow. So could this be the end of the line for Dez Fitzpatrick? Or could it be just Conley, like, hey, Conley, go.
Well, you're making an assumption. It may be a receiver. It could be another position.
Could be.
I'm like you. I would assume 4 is a lot on the practice. So, especially on a team that is not known for throwing.
yeah.
Let's get that out there. So
they're
why
not really
we
stockpiling weapons.
Yeah, all these skill guys. What are we doing here? So I don't know where to go with this one. I don't know what they think. And why did they sign Roberson? I don't know, man. Dang. I liked him from the jump, so I never thought he should have got cut. I thought he should have made the actual roster. Worst case scenario, he would be on the practice squad. So, I love me some Kinseys, a punt return or 2. This may be close because, they have the CJ, the board kid returning punts.
Yep.
So I'd probably feel some kind of way if I'm Mason Kinsey. Like, hey, man, I should be up. I didn't even think about that until they signed him. Ooh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, he got bypassed. They signed board off somebody else's practice squad.
And he did a good job. I think he had to do it. He did it 1 game, didn't he?
He's been up 1 game. Dez has been up 1 game. They brought up Conley, I think, has been up 1 game, although he actually got signed to the roster, then cut and put back on the practice squad. But a bunch of guys have gotten a 1-game audition. Board got technically a 1-game audition, and he has made the most of it. He averaged, 11 yards per punt return. Mm-hmm. He was a bright spot last week.
He was.
They had the one where it got a little wonky, like he kind of booted it around and picked it up, and then he thought he was about to get tackled. Looked like he kind of leaned to it. Nobody tackled him, and he ran to the right instead of getting upfield. But even on that one, he made 9 yards on the ugliest one of the day.
Yeah. I always felt like he was running to a brick wall. Like, man, did he get up?
Well,
like, you hear the crackle, woo! I'm like, oh, that wasn't good. That hurt. He gonna feel that tomorrow.
At some point, if you watch the Monday Night Football game last night, the Colts have whoever the dude is at returning kickoffs that looked like he had a missile up his butt. You see that guy come out the end zone and return one like 83 yards or whatever. He was 8 yards deep and got it to the 20 on the other end.
Oh, really?
To start the second half, he put the Colts back in the game. They were losing 16-3.
That's
It was a
why
kick return.
I turned it. I was like, this game is over.
It was not over.
Especially it was like, they only have how many yards?
Yeah, like 3
Total
or
offense?
10.
Yeah, it was some. I was like,
Oh, no.
my.
Second half got completely different. They
I know,
took the
I saw
lead.
score too. I said, let me turn it back.
Oh, you know me. I was up watching it. I don't waste any football. But, a kick returner.
I think my wife was like, we're going to watch The Good Doctor right now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was so exciting.
Well, let's go to the Coach Mack. Is like a doctor of football. Let's go to Coach Mack. When we come back, it is time for the Mack Attack on Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Hear that sound, it only means one thing. It means the return of Dave McGinnis, Coach Mack, for the Mac Attack here on Blaine and Mickey, brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Look to the folks at Farm Bureau Health Plans. When you need someone who knows the health care coverage game plan, they've been protecting Tennesseans for 75 years. Coach, we might as well do it again. TCU, Frogs, still in this thing.
Wow.
Frog. Yep. That's all you got to say is Frog. This championship game, though, at AT&T Stadium, I mean, Kansas State, has beaten TCU 3 out of the last 4 times. TCU won the most recent, this season. But when you start looking at K-State, I mean, K-State number 1 in the Big 12 in turnover margin. They're number 1 in defense. They can run the ball. This is going to be a test, and that's kind of what you thought going down. As long as the Frogs were undefeated, they were going to either have to play one of these 3. They're going to either have to play K-State, Baylor, or Texas. Well, they got the Wildcats, so it's purple on purple.
It called me crazy, but isn't K-State also part of the Coach Mack coaching history?
I coached there at K-State. I was every man a Wildcat for 3 years. Absolutely. It's when we were there. It was still the Big 8. So yes, absolutely. I still own a home out there in Manhattan, Kansas.
Who was the head coach then at that time?
The head coach when I was there was Jim Dickey.
Oh, okay.
DB's coach, right, Coach? Is that right?
Yeah, well, he was for years the secondary coach at Oklahoma, and then he was at at Virginia Tech for a lot of years and got the head job to K-State from Virginia Tech.
There you go, Coach Mack. I've learned my Mack history, Coach. I know where you've been. I pay attention to things.
Yeah, well, if you follow Coach Mack, you'll go to several places.
Well, all good places with you for sure. You ever seen a football game essentially end with a penalty on a guy hitting a long snapper?
No, I've never seen one end like that. I mean, I've seen that penalty be called before, but never at a juncture in a game like that to end it. And it was the correct call. I mean, you can't, you can't do it, whether it's inadvertent or not. If you hit them anywhere around the head or neck area, because they're protecting long snappers. I mean, used to be you could crush the long snapper.
Yep.
Back when I first started, that was part of your game plan defensively and on field goal rush. You would overload that center guard gap and go right at him. You can't do it anymore. So it was a proper call.
Coach Dave McGinnis, our guest here, giving us the Mac Attack on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach, I guess give us a summary or your main takeaways from this game versus the Bengals.
Well, I mean, they couldn't establish anything on the line of scrimmage offensively at all, and then basically Cincinnati was able to run the ball on the Titans, which not a lot of people have been able to do, but they were able to do it on a consistent basis. And they were doing a nice job of coverage. But to me, one of the biggest turning points, first of all, Joe Burrow got out several times. We always talk about going into mobile quarterback games, which we've got another one coming up.
Yes,
that
sir.
You've got to be able, if you're rushing 4, you've got to be able to cage rush him, and cage rushing is just what it sounds like. You got to get your edges have got to squeeze to the depth of the quarterback, and that's it. But you've got to have really good gap discipline if you're going to run games inside, because there's 5 gaps and 4 guys. So, he was able to escape up the middle, for a big run. He's able to escape to his throwing hand once. That was a problem too. But the other issue was he wasn't killing the Titans throwing the football, because they had nice coverage. But, to me, the sequence of throws that, you started to say, well, that's just, you're playing against a really accurate quarterback, was that 3rd and 12, way through the back shoulder. That was a, fantastic throw. Coverage was good. Yeah. And then the following throw was the combat catch to T. Higgins at the pylon, and, the corner was right there. But, sometimes those plays are made in the National Football League. But I think that the line of scrimmage that the Titans were unable to win on both sides of the ball was a big part of the game. I mean, that's why the game was as close as it was. But still, Derrick Henry, we could never get enough push up front, against their front, and especially DJ Reader, to be able to get Henry to his 4th step. The only time we ever got Henry basically about 3 times to his 4th step, he had runs of 7 and 9 yards, and then they hit the one big screen to him, but we never could get Derrick Henry going at all. I thought Tannehill played a really good game. Threw some really nice balls. Traylon Burke shows up again. NWI showed up. I mean, but it's not enough. When you're playing a team like that, you just cannot let the quarterback escape. And also, you can't. Samaje Perine was a problem running the football.
Yeah, he was. And, so with that being said, and naturally all games are run in the trenches. Would you say that they out-physicaled us? I'm just asking your opinion. I thought they maybe out-executed us, but they out-physicaled us, huh?
Yes, they did. I mean, and that's the Titans game. Wow. That's the Titans game. And so, Mike Vrabel, alluded to it. When you're capturing the line of scrimmage, on both sides of the ball, well, then, you're getting a push. You're being more physical, which is very unusual for a team to consist. Now, look, you're going to win and lose, but to consistently be able to move the line of scrimmage on both sides of the Titans is very unusual.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're on with Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack. I guess explain to us, and maybe it was more execution by the Bengals and the Titans not executing, so you got to give credit to the Bengals, why they were having difficulty in the red zone, which they were at the top of the league in getting touchdowns.
Yeah, well, I mean, you get down there 3 times, you've got to come away with touchdowns, especially, you're playing those are 2 playoff teams playing one another. Yep. So when you get, they were able to move the football down into the red zone. And I mean, it's always a combination. It's always a combination of things. It's a combination of protection. It's a combination of not being able to get open down there. It's a combination of not being able to get separation. All of those things happen. The key is, I mean, regardless of what the problems were, you've got to be able to get touchdowns, especially when you work as hard as they worked to get it down there in the red zone. So I don't think it's just one particular thing, but the thing that was consistent was they got down there 3 times and could not score a touchdown.
I guess talk a little bit. I felt like Traylon Burks, we're seeing the Traylon Burks effect in the passing game, and he's starting to rev up in here and show, why he was a first-round pick. I just feel like, I guess, give us your thoughts on that, and then we got to get him on the field more. He can't be playing that many lower snaps. Based off his production, he did great, but I mean, man, shoosh. We got to get this kid.
No, they've got packages for everybody, and of course, the other thing is you got to be able to possess the ball too. They were not possessing the ball, a long time. Anytime he was involved, I just did a thing for Microsoft, and I highlighted, both that big combat catch he had down the middle, great. That they were able to get him locked up back there. And also, just the great effort he made being able to recover the fumble after the 70-yard screen by Derrick Henry. I mean, the guy's a football player. And as I said, I really thought, guys, that he was really starting to take another step forward before he hurt his toe at Indy. So I think he's just now getting back into that groove. But, he's what, you wanted him to be, and he will only get better. But this is a big, strong, athletic dude that's a very, very competitive guy. So, I mean, I don't know how you cannot be impressed with what he's doing.
We're on with Coach Mack, giving us the Mack attack from Titans Radio.
Coach, you mentioned the next mobile quarterback the Titans are going to see. Hurts in the last game threw for 150 and ran for 150. There's like 4 people who've done that, and he's one of them.
Just in the first half?
It may have been in the first half. They were unstoppable on the ground, the Eagles, but he is just something else that you have to prepare for. Goodness.
Well, he's running wise, he's like Michael Vick. I mean, you can't catch him. He's probably the fastest one. I think probably he and Lamar Jackson are the fastest in space when they get stretched out. But yeah, I mean, I watched and really broke down all of that game as it was going on, and they really had. See, anytime you've got a quarterback, and especially one that can run scheduled and unscheduled runs, it makes you have to +1 on defense. And what that means is somebody's got to be responsible for him. Just like when you play Lamar Jackson, in the running game, the issue with him is once he gets in some space, he's going to outrun most angles.
Right. I
mean, this guy's really fast. It's like, back, when I was coaching and we'd play Michael Vick, I mean, there was no angle that you could take that could help you. So what you had to do is be able to keep him in front of you and don't let him, get that space. So this is a huge challenge. And plus, I mean, they ran the ball for over 300 yards. That's a lot in the National Football League.
They ran for 363 against Green Bay, Coach. I had to look at it twice to make sure I didn't write down 263. Well,
no, I mean, if you watch them, I mean, I was charting the whole game, and they they were really just, taking it to them. And they did a nice look. Their offensive line, their offensive line is one of the best offensive lines in the league, especially that center guard triangle and at the tackles. They're a good offensive line, and they were creating some pretty decent lanes, for those running backs. And then when they have the scheduled runs, with the quarterback, it just adds another dimension to it.
Well, the Titans had played so well against the run. It had been since September, I guess, since the Bills had given up 100 yards. They gave up 100 yards in the game last week, but there was a lot of talk and just watching them with your eyes. They missed a lot of tackles. It's not like they weren't in the right place. They just couldn't get some RJP Ryan down a lot of times.
No, I mean, he ran through. I mean, I don't chart that as far as yards after contact. I know the coaches do, but there was a lot of yards after contact, with P. Ryan and Mike Vrabel, said it. I think in his first press conference that there was too many missed tackles, and missed tackles can be with a first contact. But if the ball carrier is moving forward after that first contact and moving forward significantly, 2 or 3 yards, well then that's an issue. They were having an issue with P. Ryan running the football, and basically, the touchdown he ran was a power O where they just, they cleaned it out. So, as I said, the physical, you knew going into it that P. Ryan was a guy that used a lot in space, but with Mixon out, I mean, they handed him the ball. I mean, that guy's, 5'8", 240 pounds. I mean, that's like trying to tackle a fire hydrant that's running fast.
Remind me of the old Robert Newhouse days with those thighs. We're on with Coach Mack. The Mack Attack talking Titans here on Blade and Mickey.
Well, you're talking about them running the football. How much do you think having Autry not present there kind of affected everything and in the rotation? And not to make any excuses, but from your eyes, you've been watching them in detail, every game, calling the game. Did they just look like they didn't have that mojo, or was it just more – the Bengals were just executing better?
Well, I think it was the Bengals executing, but and I'll say this, and again, the National Football League is unforgiving. There is no, there's no excuses for nothing.
No doubt.
There's zero excuses for nothing. I mean, I lived that life for 31 years. I'd never had anybody feel sorry for me once in 31 years, and that's a lot of games. So let me just say this, but having Autry not play doesn't help your defense. Because that dude has been a very, very valuable and interchangeable piece and an effective piece. And so, I mean, it's especially this time of year, you get to the end of November, which we're at, and go into December, it really behooves you, if you can, to be able to get some of your dudes back. And everybody has people that have missed. Everybody has people that have missed. But I think missing Danico Autry, I mean, you'd be dishonest if you said, that it was a good thing to have Danico Autry out of the game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And they had one of their big guys down in the front that we couldn't move him, really. And I think he was
DJ Reader?
Yes, Reader, who knows us, right? Didn't he used to play for the Texans? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Or no?
Look, let me tell you something about
that guy
DJ
could
Reader.
not move. I'm like, uh-oh.
There's a lot of construction going on in Nashville, and when you see those big front end loaders that they bring in
yes.
to move all this stuff, that was him.
Oh, man,
when he anchored in there, he was an immovable object. And plus, I mean, on that, of course, I watch games like I always watch games when I was coaching. But the big screen, the screen that Henry broke, who was right out there outside and
was chasing
dove
him and tried to get him.
And he dove and missed his ankle, and Henry stepped through that to keep going. But that was Reader. So, I mean, when you got 347, 350 pounds running like that sideways, that's an issue.
Well, it seems as though everybody keeps coming back to this, and I just don't see it, and maybe because I don't want to see it, but like Henry is losing a step. When I guess we're talking about the one he ran, and I thought he was in third gear. I don't even think he got to his fourth gear. Because he still wasn't going straight. He still had to maneuver. There was people in front of him that he had to make sure when they cut. So I can't see it, but people are thinking that he is losing a step. Do you see any of that? Or how do you track that? Like if you were a scout now saying, I think Henry's starting to lose a step, because we really haven't seen him in open field when someone is like, he's straight line and he's and is up to speed and they walked him.
Well, they got GPS now. He was close to 21 miles an hour. That's not losing much speed.
Woo. So that means he's not losing anything. That's what he was doing before. What was it, 21.8
Yeah,
or 22?
I don't keep much
man,
track
come
of
on,
that.
man.
But I mean, when you are that fast and getting out there, but as far as clear view, I mean he's making, like I said, Reeder tripped him, went at his ankles, and so he had to restart again. I'm not worried about Henry's speed. What we need to do is get him to that fourth step on a consistent basis so he can keep hammering the ball.
Mm-hmm. I guess lastly for me, and it's kind of more of a coach question and what's going through your headset's mind, the thought process. And I agree with what Vrabel did, and a lot of people saying they wouldn't. I don't know if it's because Joe Burrow's a quarterback, is that why didn't you go for it on fourth down with 6 minutes left in the game? Now, take us through staying on the sideline, being a head coach. What are your thought processes in a game like this when you're playing an elite quarterback? I thought it was the right call. I'm going to depend on my defense.
Me too. I mean, you played defense in this league for a lot of years.
Defenses.
I coached you, and you play field position.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no look. Field position was vital in that ball game, and you do everything you can to play field position. Just because you go for it on fourth down doesn't mean you're going to make it. I mean that.
I got to get some points, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, to me, that's always been. That's why analytics is a nice word that everybody likes to throw out there, and they talk about fourth down, but. Fourth down's not great if you don't make it. If you gain 60 yards in field position, like we had that 170-yard punt that was a 51 net, you'll do that anytime.
Well, I have to throw a little dart out here, and that is, do you think the Rams want those draft picks back, or was it really worth it to get that Super Bowl? Maybe worth it. Some people say put the chips in, and hey, I got my Super Bowl ring.
No, they got it. They got it. They did. They knew exactly what they were doing. They got it. They mortgaged the future and everything. Now they're one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, so that's the nature of this business, though. I mean, if you go all in and get fortunate, get lucky. The Rams never would have been in the Super Bowl if Jaquiski Tartt could catch a balloon ball that was thrown to him. In that championship game, but that's ifs and buts or candy and nuts with the whole Merry Christmas thing. Yeah. Look, they put everything they could into it, all right? And they got their Super Bowl trophy. They had their moment in the sun, but right now there's not a whole lot of sun out there in Southern California, I promise you.
One more, though, on the Bengals, and it just hit me. Taylor versus Vrabel is Vrabel's 0-3 versus him. Do the Bengals have our number, or is it more so Burrow is just a special quarterback?
Well, I mean, I don't know about a number, but I know this: every game that we've played of Joe Burrow has been really good. And not only playing against us, but even when they didn't quite, now they're putting some dudes around him now. Even when they first started, didn't have a lot of dudes around him. He was still winning games. Look, that guy is what did he do at LSU? I mean, the guy is one of the most accurate throwers in the league right now. One of the most accurate.
Every kind of throw.
And plus he's a field general. He gets it. He understands it. I mean, and as I said, he and Zach Taylor joined at the hip. So, I don't know if it's a number, but I'd like to play him again.
I know the numbers. I'm going to ask you this because I'm going to tell you my vote. If I had to pick right now, he made every throw, and he has the patience and understands what the environment is in this particular game and how to beat this team in game. Would you take Burrow over Mahomes, or would you take Mahomes over Burrow?
I think Burrow gives you more consistency. I think Mahomes gives you more splash. Because see, the thing that people I think forget about Burrow too, he can run. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a legitimate run. Mahomes is special, but Mahomes does so many things so unconventional that sometimes, it can go a little bit off schedule. I mean, we've seen him do it. We've seen him do it against us. Burrow is pretty solid throughout just because of what you said. I mean, he is as technically a correct quarterback as you're going to see in this league, but he's got the athleticism to put it over the top when he needs to.
Yeah. Coach, fantastic stuff. It's time for Mac Talk again, right? This evening right here on The Zone.
Oh. Yeah, we got Mac Talk. Rhett and I do. We get a lot of phone calls on Mac Talk at 6 o'clock. Looking forward to talking to all our fans, and here we go.
It'll be fantastic. Can't wait to listen to it. Coach, thank you. Have a good evening, and tell Rhett Bryan we said hello tonight.
No doubt.
No, well, see you guys.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
The one and only Coach Mack. All right, when we come back, what caught your attention in the sports world this weekend? It's Tuesday. We got to tell you what caught our attention. Something caught yours, 615-737-1045.
You got him.
Okay.
Yeah, got me lit.
Lucas is dancing. Bird is clapping. Blaine is standing
Let's
up.
go, USA.
85 minutes into the match. USA
Woo!
1, Iran 0. There, Lucas. I stole your thunder.
Man, I think the Titans need to use that right there just to get the crowd hyped. That got me hyped.
Nervy finish here.
I think you should have just let it run through this whole segment of, what caught your
Well, I
attention.
might have been yelling the whole time.
No, there we go. So time for the unsponsored. We don't have any sponsorship read on this. What caught your attention in the sports world this weekend? Lucas is hoping this catches his attention.
Yep, this would be pretty good.
10 minutes and change, I guess, with injury time. No, 5 minutes and change of injury time, right? Away from – did they advance for certain if this happens?
For certain, if this score holds,
Yes.
the U.S. will move into the round of 16 and play the Dutch.
The Dutch. How does that match? Well, let's don't count our chickens before they hatch.
No, it'll be a nervy last 5+
Let's
minutes.
don't do this. Lucas is perspiring. Lucas, what caught your attention in the sports world this weekend?
How about Mike White?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Zach Wilson can only put up 3 points, 2 second-half yards against the Patriots, and he wasn't facing the Patriots defense. It was the Chicago Bears. But Mike White, 22 of 28, 315 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He made it look easy as the Jets improved to 7-4. Western Kentucky legend.
Robert Saleh said, I think yesterday, he will not commit to him as the starter, though, week to week. Imagine in New York what that frenzy's like. He has not committed to him.
Well,
week.
I think you have to because you never know. You're also trying to cut hairs there with your second pick of the draft.
Yeah.
That, hey, man, keep training, keep working. He may be better than you today, but that your upside is much higher. We just got to get you back on the right track. So I get it. And then that keeps, the later round pick guy who's better than you now on top of his game. Yeah.
Everybody on their toes.
On their shoulder, yeah, man.
But before the hit, man, let's sneak Jason in here on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Jason, what caught your attention?
Hey, so 2 things real quick. One, definitely the Odell Beckham. I don't even think it shouldn't have because the more I think about it, it's not even relevant. It ain't like he's going to be effective for anybody this season. But the whole incident with him on the plane, I just wanted to see, do y'all even think he's going to have a chance to come back, or is he just wishful thinking that he can get a job somewhere like T.O. did? And then my next question that caught my attention is this Tom Brady situation in the Cleveland game where they didn't allow him to try to win the game. There's an issue between that coach, is what is being reported, and Tom Brady, and taking it out of Tom Brady's hands and ended up costing them in the end, not giving him an opportunity to win that game when they had an opportunity. Y'all have a blessed day. Thanks.
I appreciate the phone call. So it was questionable attention catchers.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if I would ever try to take the ball out of Tom Brady's hand.
What are you doing here, man?
Yeah, I'd be like,
are we trying to lose?
Do what you want, Mr. Brady, would be my
Well, that kind of leads to my what caught your attention. Stay on the line of quarterbacks. And I see right here Michael Newsom. Emmett Jones. Burrow and Mahomes are both poison to the Titans. And I'm going to take it to the next level. I think Burrow should be in the MVP conversation. And if he doesn't win an MVP at some point in time in his career, and multiple, what I saw him do out there. And the reason why I say that is because he understands when to run, when not to. He's not so risky as Mahomes. And Mahomes can throw with all these different launch angles from his baseball background, but he's a little helter-skelter. He gets greedy, and he wants to force the issue and try to dictate it. Burrow is Joe Cool, man. He does not. He's like Bert. He's just so cool, man. Nothing's going to make him get out of his rhythm and flow of what you doing and how I'm going to attack you to beat you, your defense, Titan. So I think, man, he may be the best quarterback in the NFL, and he can make all the different throws. Know when to throw the rocket launcher, know when to throw the soft touch, know when to drop it in the bucket, when to zip it for that out. I mean, man, back shoulder, I saw it all. Man, he is daggone good. And sorry, Mickey, we didn't get your what caught your attention.
Oh, we're going to get mine. Matt Rule got an 8-year, $72 million
We
contract.
rich, baby!
Hey, you don't have to do that. Athletic directors, you don't have to sell your soul money-wise and year-wise. 8 for 72. I get he's a great coach. He's turned around programs.
Yes, he is the turnaround guy.
8 for 72, though, even a turnaround guy was like, seriously? I'll take it.
Watch this. How much is he making combined with the Panthers' salary?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know. All of it.
Whoa. He making about 200. He making more than Deshaun Watson.
He's making Lucas money for sure. Hey, 104.5 The Zone's Toy Field. Toy Drive presented by Hardee's to benefit Salvation Army's Forgotten Angels December 6th. While you're out doing your shopping, remember those in need. Pick up a gift or toy. Help us build a field of toys, he said. Tuesday, December 6th. Special thanks to State Water Heaters and Cool Ray. For more info, visit 1045thezone.com. But we got to go now because it's time for 3HL.
But in the meantime.
In between time. Peace.
Thanks.